Today's lesson is about completing the square, and this is actually a quite difficult lesson. You may want to pause the video and listen to what I am saying a second time so that you understand all the small details on how to do this completing the square. So these are the three things we are going to complete today. So first thing you need to know is what is a perfect square. So as you know, a square is a number multiplied by itself. In terms of algebra, if we have a plus b squared, it means a plus b times a plus b, and then you know the formula, it's a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. And if there is a minus in the a minus b, only the second term becomes negative. So what is the square of x plus 5? So the first term is going to be x squared followed by 2 times x times negative 5, which is negative 10x, and then the last term is negative 5 times negative 5, which is plus 25. So can you figure out what this is a square of? Give it some thought. Pause the video and see what happens. It turns out that x squared plus 6x plus 9 is the square of x plus 3. So I'm going to do one or two examples to help you create a perfect square trinomial. So here's the first one. Let's say we have x squared plus 8x. What number should go at the very end so that it becomes, the whole trinomial becomes a perfect square? You need to look at the examples above and see if you can follow the pattern and figure it out. So in this case, if the last number needs to be 16, and if the last number is 16, then this is a perfect square of x plus 4. Similarly, if we have x squared minus 18x, what should that last number be? It turns out that that last number is going to be 81, and this is the square of x minus 9. Now if you are not able to see the pattern, that's okay. You're going to see it how it works in the next slide. So here we have an equation, it's equal to 0, and we want to solve by completing the square. Now the steps are pretty complicated. You may want to copy it down, and then I'm going to take you step by step. So pause the video and copy all the steps down. So here goes. Let's say the equation is x squared minus 14x minus 15. So the first step is to make sure that your a is equal to 1, which in this case it is. Then it says to move c to the right of the equal sign. So this negative 15 is the c. So you're going to rewrite x squared minus 14x, but you're going to add 15 to both sides, so it becomes equals to 15, positive 15. And now we are going to create a perfect square on the left side by taking half of b. b is 14 and half of 14 is 7, and you're going to square the 7, so it becomes plus 49. And when we do this, the equation has become unbalanced, so you must add 49 to both sides. It turns out that what you have done is on the left side you have created a perfect square of x minus 7. On the right side, 15 plus 49 is equal to 64. Now we must take the square root of both sides because we want to isolate the x by using inverse operations, and the opposite of squaring is finding the square root. On the left side we now have x minus 7 On the right side, the square root of 64 is positive or negative 8. And now to isolate the x, you're going to add 7 to both sides of the equation. So we have 7 plus or minus 8. And when you do the math, it turns out that x is either equal to 15 or x is equal to negative 1. And you must write this answer in a solution set. So it becomes negative 1, comma 15. Okay, let's try another one. I know it's many steps for you to remember, but let's give it a try. So solve by completing the square. Before you begin, you want to make sure that the value of a is equal to 1. Sometimes you have to manipulate the equation so that a is equal to 1, and you want to create a perfect square on the left. So we start off by saying, okay, I'm going to move the 15 over. So we have x squared plus 8x is equal to negative 15. And now to create a perfect square on the left, we're going to take the 8, half it, which is 4, square it, which is 16. We add 16. But you cannot just add it to one side of the equation, you're going to add it to the other side as well. On the left, you have created a perfect square of x plus 4. On the right side, we have 1. Now, the next step is to find the square root of both sides of the equation. And the square root on the left becomes x plus 4. On the right, the square root of 1 is positive and negative 1. I apologize for the bad writing. And then x is equal to minus 4 plus or minus 1. This gives us two values for x. X is equal to negative 5 and x is equal to negative 3, which you will put in a solution set in order negative 5 comma negative 3. So let's try another one. You may want to pause the video and try this completely on your own, and then start playing it and see what work I have done. So x squared plus 16x is equal to negative 55, and I am going to create a perfect square on the left by taking the 16, half of 16 is 8, square it, I get 64. So you add 64 to both sides to keep the equation balanced. On the left side, you have now created a perfect square of x plus 8. On the right side, minus 55 plus 64 is equal to positive 9. We now must find the square root of both sides. So the square root on the left, okay, what happened? The square root on the left and the square root on the right gives us x plus 8 is equal to positive or negative 3. Then you subtract 8 from both sides, you get minus 8 plus or minus 3, which gives us x is equal to negative 11 or x is equal to negative 5. So your answers are negative 11 comma negative 5. You can pause the video now and we shall do part B soon. Now here is part B. Part B says find the vertex form of a quadratic equation. The vertex form of a quadratic equation is written as y equals x minus h squared plus k. And in this form, the vertex is at h comma k. Notice that the k is the same, but the h is the opposite. So, for example, if this is the vertex form, then we know h is equal to -3, k is equal to -1. So the vertex is at -3, -1. And we know that this parabola is going to go up in this direction because the x is going to become positive. And therefore, this vertex is a minimum. So we're going to try two questions. I want you to try them out. First, complete the square. See if you can follow along with me. You may want to pause the video so that you can follow along. So first, you want to move the 10 over. So we have y minus 10 equals x squared plus 4x. And then you're going to take the 4, half it, and square it. That means you're going to add 4 to both sides of the equation. On the right side, you have created a perfect square of x plus 2. And on the left, we now have y minus 6. Now you're going to add 6 to both sides to create the vertex form. And now h is equal to -2, k is equal to +6. The vertex is at -2, 6. And my next question is, can you figure out what is the equation of the axis of symmetry? And since the axis is right on the vertex, x has to equal to -2. Let's try another one. Subtract 34 from both sides. Take the 12, half it, square it. The left side becomes y plus 2. The right side is the square of x plus 6. Make it y equals. And now we know h is -6, k is -2. So the vertex is at -6, -2, and the equation of the axis is x equals -6. And that is it for today. Goodbye.